stand there and put your hands up, they call a foul. That is, how do you guard that? How do you defend that? That's just so inconsistent to me. Or when KJ sticks his hand out and you call weak things like that, that's hard to overcome in so many different ways. But it's a road game. They're home, and I have to give kudos to Brad Sturdy, who just joined us. When this schedule first came out, Brad, I don't know if you remember mentioning this or not. When you looked at the schedule, the first thing you said was when you saw this West Coast trip, the student section wouldn't be there. This is an opportunity where you have to try to win this game with them not being there, because they're up. It's a dead crowd, and you don't want to let them get back into the game with the crowd.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think you're spot on, Ked. I thought it was interesting, Draven Gibbs-Leghorn, obviously a big story, and Jake Davis getting those points. But when Draven Gibbs-Leghorn's on the floor, Oregon was switching a lot of screens early, and they can't stay in front of him. Well, after they switch, that big guy, he just went right by. And he's just too athletic, too quick to do that. And then the other thing I would say, I thought Kylan Boswell, he hit the big three at the end, but I thought he missed some shots at the rim. He had one that was completely uncontested. So I think that, they've got to make those to win on the road. I thought they got to, obviously, we talked about Jake Davis, but I also think they got really good minutes from Ben Humrickhouse on the defensive end and the offensive end. Ivasic was good inside. I thought Merez and Riley really looked like freshmen tonight. I mean, this is the first time I've seen Merez really look like a freshman on defense. Usually he's so good defensively. He's been so dominant defensively, but he got lost a few times, rotated. And I thought Riley didn't. There was twice Will Riley gave up a dunk inside because he didn't rotate off his guy and help. He just kind of stood there. And I think that's just a freshman thing. He'll get there, but those are things that they do. But that's why you saw Trey White come right back in then. But they're going to have to. I'm not sure that they can play the way they're playing pace wise. They really look like they get out of control sometimes. But I think part of that's they didn't have Kasparis to kind of settle them in a little bit and kind of be that guy. And so I think that'll be interesting to see what they do in the second half here.
Yeah, I think the pacing that he provides has been a little bit missing. Not that anything has been bad. I'll tell you, the thing that I thought was the most interesting thing is Illinois has been pretty bad on layups, 5 for 13 in the first half. And then I went, you look at what, you look out there, and of course Oregon is 3 for 12. So you're seeing a lot of bunnies, being missed. And I do think, though, the difference is Illinois is not contesting as hard, and I think they haven't quite figured out what's going to be called a foul in the lane. I'm not certain if you guys draw that same conclusion that I am.
Hey, it's just like every other game. Nobody knows what a foul is.
Well, it's like a targeting. But
targeting call. It's like targeting. We don't know. It's just we don't know.
Because I think Brad, the best comment during the game, or I guess a little earlier, was Brad's comment that if not for a missed targeting call, the SEC wouldn't even be in the Final Four.
Yeah,
man, no kidding. You know what? From a coaching standpoint, when Draven Gibbs-Leghorn did it once, and I think Will Riley did it once. Now, I know in junior high basketball, you are taught how to rotate. They gave up 2 easy dunks. I know both of those kids did by not rotating. I'm not going to say the fact that you're in college that you don't know better than that. You have to know. If you're going to give up something, let them throw the ball, skip court across the court, and knock down a 3. I'm sitting there screaming, rotate, rotate, rotate. Not like they can hear me or anything. But they don't, they didn't do it. And Brad, you're 100%. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy.
No, continue. Keep going. I was going to agree with you.
So right now, and looks like Merez, that last foul he got, I mean, you saw it coming. He was screening. I think it was for Kylan to get a layup. But to your point, Brad, Kylan is 2 for 7, and I think 4 of those are just missed layups. I don't know if he's expecting to get fouled, which maybe he had, because he has been. Oregon's not fouling him. Either go up and just, I was always taught, go up and make the basket. If you get fouled, that's just icing on the cake, because those are opportunities that that's going to cost you. Because again, all those listening to this podcast, Oregon is going to make a run, and Illinois is going to have to answer it.
Yeah, they're not going to keep cruising and going away. I do think the one thing, Ked, that happens is on those rotations is I think they get confused by scouting, because they're being told, don't leave that guy. Well, and then it becomes, what do they say? Paralysis by analysis. And freshman guys can't handle learning. And we've talked about this a lot. They struggle learning the scout with the principles, right? So the principles are there, but then the scout comes and then they have to process that I don't leave this guy or that guy. And then they think, and then it's too late. You know what I mean? And you can't, because it's so fast. I mean, they're
Right.
boom, these guys are so quick. So I think that's a problem. But at the same time, I'd rather them stick with the principles and miss on a help on it. You know what I mean? Like, because they're giving up dunks. I mean, you got to rotate. We've been there. We've all played. We all know that you got to help from that weak side and crack down on that. But
and the thing is Morez, blocked a shot on that same type of rotation earlier in the game. And so you see again, they're throwing a lot at him. And I wouldn't be surprised to see some counter action going where they reverse the ball back around and run guys off back picks too, because Illinois' rotations are a little off. And I wonder if getting, maybe getting a little bit more from Kasparis will help out a little bit for settling things down. The other thing I've noticed is I love Will Riley's effort level, but he is coming in, unfortunately. I think if he would let the game come to him a little more, he would be a little better off. And I know he's young. He wants to make an impression, but you don't have to force it. And he wasn't doing that earlier in the year.
He's hunting shots. He's literally coming into the game, in my opinion, hunting shots and looking to score, and not just like you said, Mike, let the game come to him, because he's going to get opportunities. The offense is going to provide opportunities for everyone, and it's a lot of pressure, for those guys. They know who the NBA scouts are there. They know who they're there to see. And I think right now, if you're an NBA scout, you got to be disappointed because neither player has done much. KJ is because he's been in foul trouble, but start the second half. To me, again, it's about winning. If KJ is having an off day and the NBA scouts are there, to me, it's about winning the game. You have those NBA scouts, they're making millions of dollars, come to the next game. Because at this point right now, I would much rather, and even Jake Davis, I have to give kudos to Jake Davis and Drayvon Gibbs-Lawhorn. If they're cooking, as they say with the teenagers today, let them cook.
Yeah. One thing I'll say that they're doing with KJ, you saw this early on. They are, interestingly enough, most teams will force him to his left and don't let him drive left. They're actually forcing him right, but giving him the jump shot right. They don't want him to get to that step back three to his left. You notice, like, when he goes left, they want him to drive. They're forcing him to drive left and forcing him to pull up right, which is opposite of what he does. And so that's where he's got to learn to make that adjustment and play with the game and find that, find the seam in the defense, find the opening. And so it's very intriguing to watch how different teams will defend guys differently based on their scout, based on how they do this. And it's pretty clear that that's what they're doing against him. And so, but I think having that half to watch is really going to help him. He's going to be fresh legs in the second half. So this is this should be a lot of fun. Mike decided to leave us, Ked.
Yeah, no kidding. He has an early work schedule. I'll tell you what, Brad. To your point, if they're going to give him that and I give him that jump shot, then just take the ball to the basket and get the layup. Just convert it. Just convert it. I think you mentioned the scout. I think they're worried about getting the shot blocked. And so maybe that's why Kylan isn't, finishing. And I know KJ missed one early, and so again, I know they like to shoot threes and I know the analytics, but they're going to give them to you, take advantage. Because one thing I will say to this, and I've been the most critical person, it is, you and I have talked a little bit about getting an easy basket for Ben Rickhouse. He's got to the basket. He got that little nice, post up move, and then I also like to see Trey White. Because he's not like to see, but he's doing it, and so that gives them a different look. And I don't know if anybody's mentioned this. Tonight was the first time I've seen them push the basketball since Arkansas. They're literally looking to push the ball up the court, and I've not seen that much, in the last few games. So maybe they see something against Oregon, but I like to see them do more of that.
I think it's clear that they saw something on film in Oregon's transition defense where they wanted to get the ball up and down the floor, not get them set defensively. And I think part of that is you get stops. They had a bunch of stops. When you get stops, you can push it, right? It stops, you get the rebound and run. And I think they saw something there. It's pretty clear. And it's evident that when Oregon does get their defense set, they're much better. They're much better defensively than they are in transition. Now, the downside is I thought Illinois at the end of the half struggled to get back and find their guy in transition. They start even after makes, they were not getting back. They made a three and didn't get back and give up a layup on the other end. So you got to really run the floor against this Oregon team because they want to push it too. They like to have quick possessions and get the ball up and down the court.
And you don't want to be lost. I know a lot of back in the day, we didn't have that little whiteboard telling you who matchups are because it's like a cheat sheet, but they're subbing in and subbing out. And I know coaches are probably seeing different things and different matchups, but I mean, this is going to go down to the wire. And to be honest with you, I'm pretty impressed with how well they play. As well as Oregon has played this year, I thought the outcome right now at the half would be a little bit different. But Illinois is playing really well defensively. Other than, the rotations that we talked about, they've done really well, guarding their man, the rebounding, and they've done it without Avises and Morez. And the one thing you're going to get with Kylan and you're going to get with Cusperes the second half, you're going to get rebounding from those guards. So,
Yeah, I agree. I think they've got a great chance to win this. Keep taking good shots. Keep getting in the paint, playing off 2 feet, getting in the paint, and I think they'll be fine. And then find that defensively, just make sure they rotate. I think you'll see a slightly shorter bench, although you got to give Jake Davis and Draven Gibbs the horn their minutes here because they're playing well. But I'm not sure, Morez and Riley really got to earn their time. Morez has got to figure out that defensive end against this, and Riley's got to rotate because this team's just a little bit different than what they've faced. They just play a little differently. The stretch five, then having a four that's, kind of very powerful and explosive. So this is very intriguing. Oregon's good. I was impressed by them actually after that initial start. They went into that little funk, but then they started scoring.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a heck of a game, and we're going to see how well the Illini can hold on to a lead in the second half, and that's going to be a challenge against this Oregon team.
It looks like it's about ready to start. So Jake Davis, 12 points, 5 for 6, 2 for 2 from the three. So hopefully they can continue to get production from him and Draven off the bench.
Yep.
Thanks for
big half.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We're going to return you to the game right now.